What's going on, everybody? Evan here with Evan's Detailing and Polishing. Today we're talking about our 3-day beginner training course. Alright, in the 3-day beginner training course, this is for your beginners to the guys that are still trying to get into it, or the guys that are really struggling, having issues with lines or pressure or sanding, that kind of stuff. We pretty much start from new. Understand our class sizes are max size 2 people. Unless you own your own business and you're bringing your own crew, I keep our class sizes to only 2. So if you book a class with me, you're only going to end up with 1 other person in your class maximum, unless you personally bring a bunch of other people with you. Now, to go through what's all covered in this 3-day course, day 1, we spend all day on this fuel tank. I have it up off the ground, it's not on a truck, because I want to teach you pressure and technique. So for the better part of the first day until lunch, I usually spend all day on the front of this, polishing small sections, polishing bigger sections, and working you up until we can start working strap to strap. So the whole first day is spent learning pressure and technique. Why do we spend so much time on pressure and technique? Because pressure and technique are the most important parts of polishing. Even if I only spent 3 days teaching you pressure and technique and got you perfect on a tank, you could watch my patterns on the rest of my YouTube videos on how to do a drive or a steer or stainless or a grill or a diamond plate. You could learn all of that. As long as your pressure and technique is good, the rest of the stuff falls in line. So we spend the better part of the first day learning pressure and technique. Now, this is one of our training tanks. We also have another one that we've been teaching people on. Once you get through this whole entire side here, where we polish the middle section and we're going strap to strap, then I teach you the end pieces so that when you fall off the edge, we teach you how to recover and to keep polishing even after you fall off an edge. Once we're done with that and we have you completed, then we start working on an end cap. Now, if you notice here, this end cap on this tank is really flat. So teaching you on how to do this end cap not only teaches you how to do end caps, but it also teaches you how to polish on flat stuff. Let's just say a Kenworth flat face box, or a flat face box on a Mack trailer, or a Rittenauer, or whatever. Anything flat you can learn from this. So we're teaching 2 things at once on this. And then by the end of the day, if everything goes really well, we turn this tank around and we teach you sanding. Now the back side of this tank has been sanded easily 300 times by people training over the years. So we teach you sanding, and then if you're advanced and you're doing really well that first day, I actually teach you how to show polish. Most people don't get that far that fast because it takes them a long time to catch on. But if we sand this, I make you polish back out. So not only do you learn how to sand, we take it all the way down to either 220, 320, or 400 to get it down to fresh metal, so you really have to work hard to polish it back out. And then we sand it all the way up and we polish it out and we get it back to a nice shine the way it should be, so that you learn not only how to sand, but you learn how to polish over the top of sanding. Why is that important? Because polishing over the top of sanding is a little different than polishing over the top of something that isn't sanded. So we go through all that, and that finishes out our day 1. Some people that are a little slower and struggle holding the grinder or putting pressure on, sometimes we move that sanding into day 2. But for the better part of our people that we've trained, I've officially trained over 400 people through my class here in Chilton. Out of those 400, I'd say probably 90% of them got through this entire tank in 1 day. A few of them took longer, and they still turned out just fine. Now, move on to day 2. Day 2, we move on to drive wheels and steer wheels. So we have training aids for both of those. And for those of you that have done really well, we actually polish on a truck. I have my own semi, everybody knows my cab over. We actually train people how to polish on a truck if you're really doing well and you're really advanced. I've only had a few guys in the beginner course that were good enough to throw onto a truck that I wasn't worried they were going to hurt themselves. But we train on this, and for the guys that are catching on really fast, we actually sand it. I don't sand with everybody, because once you've learned how to sand on a tank, sanding on a wheel is very similar, so I don't retrain how to sand because it all falls into place and it all ends up very similar. So we teach you how to do a drive wheel. We work on the drive wheel until about lunch. After lunch, we start working on a steer wheel. Some people don't get to the steer wheels. Steer wheels are the easiest thing. So I save them for last, because if you're struggling with a drive wheel, I would rather get the drive wheel done, because a steer wheel, you can watch my other video on YouTube on how to polish a steer wheel, and you can learn my pattern from there, and polishing a steer wheel is super simple compared to a drive. I would rather teach you how to do the drive than waste time doing a steer. All right, that's day 2. That's a complete day, just getting the pattern down, your pressure down, making sure everything stays moving along. Day 3, we move on to the grill. Now this grill we mounted at the tallest grill that we personally know. So these grills are mounted at a heavy haul height, so they're really hard. This one's one of the more difficult ones to do. As you can see, it's getting really super shiny. I'm probably going to replace this one with a rougher one that I have sitting in my storage trailer. But for some guys, we actually sand them. But most of the time, we just squirt acid on it, wreck it, dry it out really bad, so the guys have to repolish it. As soon as we are done training how to do this grill, we move on to stainless. So day 3, you get the last couple things. Most guys are getting really sore and getting really tired. So we do the easy stuff last. Stainless is not very difficult, but I save it for last because stainless, if your pressure and your technique isn't absolutely perfect, stainless will show you everything you miss. So we save stainless for last, and then it's one of the easier things to do. So when you're sore and you're tired, everybody thinks they aren't going to get sore and tired, but everybody does. And we get through the stainless on the last day. We go through the pattern, we take this shiny air cleaner, we sand it all the way down so that we're working with fresh stainless material. We sand it all the way down with the rotary sand down to 220, which is like starting over with stainless. And we work it all the way back up to 600, and then we cut it and color it. Now, one thing I want to point out to everybody is we only do these classes October through February. We only do them during our slower season. We used to do them during our busier season. Doing them during our busy season was hard. We were polishing so many trucks coming in and out of the shop that I felt like I couldn't properly train people very well in the shop, plus get our work done. Doing these in the winter, it is more of an easier for us to handle in the shop, because doing it during the summer, the shop makes good money and I can't afford to lose money to do this training. For those of you that have been asking, we only do them October through February. Now, what's the cost? Per person, I charge $500 per day, and you get all of this stuff included. We have our own buffers, our own materials, our own sandpapers. You don't bring anything other than a respiratory device, whether it's a half face or a full face. We sell the full faces for those that come without them. And if you wear the half face, you have to wear safety glasses. So bring safety glasses with you. For the guys that already have glasses, as long as they're safety type, you're good. And like I said, max class size is 2. And you get a free lunch out of it. We take you to a really nice deli here in town. Shout out to Hildy's Deli in Chilton, Wisconsin. She always takes good care of us. So you get a nice hot meal. If you do the 3-day course, we usually do a pizza day the last day. And for those of you looking to get certificates of graduation as well, we also do those for those of you that ask. For most people, you're not looking for a certificate. I would say probably 95% of the people that come through the class do really well, and I would consider a passing grade to go on and start polishing. There's very few people that don't, and a few of those people just figured out it wasn't for them. So if you're interested in doing this, you can either email evan@goshineon.com, that's GOSHINEON.com, or you can call me anytime. I usually start setting them up. I let people start calling in August or September to schedule them. But like I said, August through February, that's it. We don't do them through the summer at all. But this is our 3-day beginner course. I hope you guys are watching these videos so that you can learn about the training. And that's all that's included. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.